Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a great start to your Wednesday morning. Or at least it's my Wednesday morning. It should be yours as well. Yeah, hope you guys are all having a great day. JNUG is having a huge sell-off, so building a lot of margin there. I'm going to set my alert to see if we end up identifying a reversal, right? I don't know if you guys were experiencing any like issues with TOS this morning. My thing was like completely freaking out. And yeah, so I want to go ahead and break down and talk about direction. Let's first have a little bit of a better understanding of, what's showing signs of an uptrend, what's showing signs of a downtrend, and then with that, we can have a better understanding of kind of like what to focus on, right? So I saw a lot of people in the chat talking about WTI. I'm not too sure why. There's not a lot of activity of it showing signs of an uptrend or showing signs of a downtrend as of right now. It hasn't truly identified its direction in any way. Looks like it's pulled back down to the EMA line, kind of like we expected. Looking at /CL, that's the report that's going to be coming out today, 1 hour after the market opens. It was doing a really good job right after, if I'm not mistaken, during extended hours, during the later hours, right, showing signs of an uptrend. And then all of a sudden, as this morning opened, started showing signs of a very aggressive sell-off. So that should not be in favor of Gush, right? So, okay, Gush is down. UWT should be down as well, right? UWT is down, and then DRIP should be one that's showing signs of somewhat of an uptrend if it continues to push up, and then DWT is the one that should show signs of an uptrend as well. So good morning, Don. Good morning, Pascal. What's up? Good morning, Paul, Anderson, Chris. Hope you guys are all having a great start to your morning. So as of right now, DGAS, let's identify its direction, right? As of right now, during pre-market hours and during current hours, as of right now, or current patterns right now, it's showing signs of a downtrend pattern. I think we could all say that, right? In between the middle and bottom VWAP, it continues to make lower lows, and it's selling off. So looking at /NG, since that's the correlating future for this specific ETF, you could see that natural gas is showing signs of an uptrend. Let's also take into consideration on this 20-day 1 hour that natural gas is a little bit more on the overextended side. It's a little bit more on the overbought side. So I would, before I take a position, I'm going to have the mentality of going in for a day trade if I end up wanting to take a position on, let's say, UGAS, right? Because if natural gas is going up, then UGAS should be going up as well. But again, because it's so overbought, I need to have that mentality, right, of it showing signs or just having that set criteria and preparation for a day trade, not a swing trade, right? Because as much as it could go down, as much more margin to sell off. And I need to understand that before taking the position. So on the 1 day, 1 minute chart, we can definitely see this thing pushing up. So it looks like very overextended as of right now. I would wait a little bit for a pullback. So I'm going to set my alert here. Let's check this out. So I'm going to set the alert for the break below. Set the alert here. I'm just going to move on. Ticker symbol TQQQ. Yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, it had an absolute killer day, right? Pushed all the way up from open to close, a little bit over 7%, almost 8% margin, right? And absolutely amazing. Now it's starting to show signs of a sell-off. What is it that we talked about yesterday? It started showing signs of an uptrend pattern, but just as much as it could go up, it could pull right back down, right? Because again, does something just go, and again, here's my little sound effect. Does it go straight up? Usually not. Usually not, right? So usually what it does, it's this pattern, this upward staircase pattern or this downward staircase pattern, depending on which direction it's moving, right? So if it's pushing up, it goes boom, 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 boom. Higher highs and higher lows as well. When it makes a descending pattern, it descends, right? With a descending pattern, so it makes lower lows and lower highs. So it's something that we have to understand. So when it goes straight up, it's, well, like Pascal was saying, I can't say 100% of the time if it just shoots up that it's always a pump and dump, right? But there's usually some form of news or some form of positive catalyst that's driving that specific price up. So something that we want to take into consideration, right? JNUG is aggressively selling off. Again, very overbought. It's due for a pullback. There's no question about that on that 180-day 4-hour chart. And look at this. So I have my alert set here. Margin of profit from this to, pre-market highs is about almost 3%. So One thing that I want to look at a little bit closer is /GC. There we go. So we could see almost this consolidation pattern. Right? Do you guys see this pattern? Lows, highs. This pattern that it's trying to complete. So if we get a nice little push up, we want to make sure that it continues to make higher highs, which would then be in favor of /GC and JNAG. Shopify is showing signs of a descending pattern. Huge sell-off. Holy moly. It's Jason Bourne. Why is this? Okay, I did hear about this last night. Cannabis is now legal in Canada. Industry insiders discuss what it means for stocks international market. So holy moly. Huge sell-offs on all these. What's another one? I'm just trying to go off the top of my head. Here we go. Holy moly, it's Jason Bourne. There we go. Nice little push up. MACD looks solid. I'm going to take off the news. Do you guys think that this meets potential day trade criteria? So it's aggressively pushing up again. Okay. Yeah, I agree. So it pushed up very, very aggressively. I want there to be a pullback confirmation before it, continues to push up and make higher highs. So, and its overall direction, like I have to remember that, like, okay, for my weekly goal, when it comes down to, like, it doesn't mean that I just can sit back and relax, but with my day that I had yesterday and the day that I had the day prior, I'm at the top of my weekly goal, right? So it's, again, like I said, $2,500 to $3,000 a week. I was able to do that in the first 2 days. Now we need to make sure that I don't give any of that back, right? So I want to focus on, quality positions. So if I don't feel fully comfortable, then, one of the best things that we can do is what? Not take a position, correct? So we're seeing some consolidation here, right around. There we go. Do you see this little pullback that it's having? And although it did push above the middle VWAP, it might still be getting rejected by that general area. Okay. So it's about even both ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy, but I'm going to buy with a relatively smaller position. So I'm going to buy with a little bit less than $10,000, which is less than 1/3, right? So I'll buy at market price. Let's see. There we go, right under 114. And then as this thing continues to push up, if it continues to push up, it could 100% get rejected. So I saw the margin of loss that I have, right, to $9, and it's about 1%. So I have to understand 1% of about the $9,000, something that I can definitely manage. So we're getting a nice little push up. Can we make higher highs? And if we can, maybe something that I wanted to add another, 1,000 shares to. If not, then why do I want to add to a position that's not showing signs of an uptrend? And again, my overall profit wouldn't be that much. But again, I'm focusing on the pattern itself. /GC is showing signs of it really riding that support line. Do you guys see this? Really riding that support line. There we go, selling off. And JNEG might be starting to sell off. There we go. Pulling back. Made $369 in 5 minutes at market open. So pumped. Thanks for everything. Delso, that's all your hard work. I'm down on the day, right? Or yeah, I'm down $9.70. So it's all your hard work that's paying off. I'm just over here. Ooh, I'm up $20. Can get some guac today. What is your target sell price? My target sell price would either be at the top VWAP or any sign of a resistance, so maybe the SMA indicator, but also with its understanding pre-market highs. Usually if I'm trading it this early during, the market open, so it's been about 16 minutes since the market's opened, I'll trade usually according to pre-market highs. Because again, so why is it, let me ask you guys this, and I don't know if I've talked about it before, but why is it that I would want to trade off of, or I would use the resistance during pre-market hours and maybe not something that was like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, or maybe even 24 hours ago? Why is it that I would be so focused on the resistance at, let's say 940? Why is pre-market so important to me? Cracked me up with that guac yesterday. More relevant. Perfect. That's the perfect word to use. It's a more relevant resistance. So if there's a support, right? So if there's a current support here, like as this thing was pushing up and this was like the overall SMA line, that would be a more relevant support, right? There could have been a support yesterday, there could have been a support a week ago, but a more relevant support based on current patterns would make more sense to you, right? That makes sense, correct? So if something is acting as a resistance today, but let's say it wasn't acting as a resistance yesterday, but during pre-market hours it was, it would make sense on why I would go based off of, relevant resistance levels or relevant support levels. So let's just make sure that we understand that. Moving on. Again, I can care less about JNEG itself, like the actual stock and ETF is irrelevant, but whenever you're trading something and you're having trouble identifying, hey, should I trade based off of yesterday's resistance or pre-markets or today's, or, then at least have an understanding that today's all the resistance levels that were experienced today are probably more relevant, are going to be a little bit stronger. So a lot of people talking about Tesla. Okay, had a nice little pullback. Let's see, it looks like it's getting rejected by this SMA line, don't you guys think? So SMA line all day yesterday was acting as a support. There we go. Okay, well, looks like I'm a little late. So we had a nice little push up. So now we're making higher highs again. I don't personally like to take positions as soon as it breaks. I mean, I could, but sometimes I feel like I get in a little bit too early. So what I'll do is I'm going to put my limit order and I'm going to put it at like around a little bit below that, right? So around 918. It's something that I would feel comfortable. It's still relatively, kind of close to that specific price point, and I might not get filled, but just know that at least right now, okay, I'm up $100. I'm feeling good. Forward. I'm having a hard time speaking today. I apologize. /GC showing signs of an uptrend. go. Oh my gosh, it didn't get filled. Good night, Dawn. So do you guys see this? The overall SMA line, right? The overall SMA line was acting as a previous support level. And as this thing sold off and is trying to recover, now the SMA line might be acting as a new resistance level. And you guys know that I always like to try to play it safe. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I could see that it's trying to hold above this EMA line, right? And it's trying to push up, but there's a slight resistance right around the $926 price point. Honestly, the resistance is becoming so apparent that I'm considering of just locking in profits around the 925 area. So, okay, there it goes. It's actually pulling back. Let's see where it goes. Yep, struggling to break above 923. 924, I apologize. Let's see this. Okay, forward slash GC is still showing signs of an uptrend. I think we had a question of like, would it be more apparent or more relevant to look at, where is it? Ricky, would it be more relevant to look at forward slash GC rather than JNUG? I would still rather look at JNUG, and the reason why is because sometimes we see that, you know, forward slash GC could be pushing up and, you know, JNUG still isn't moving, right? So altogether, yes, I would like to use this as a reference, but I would still, I'm still trading JNUG, and that's still the most apparent pattern. One thing that I do want to follow is JDST and see how this is trending. Is it getting rejected? Because this is a higher price stock, so you'd see more movement on this one. So you'd see this one move with, you know, a larger range than you would see with JNX, since it's a lower cap stock. So for every maybe like 5 to 10 cents that this thing moves, probably JNUG would move maybe 1 cent, right? DGAS just broke above its, I think, middle VWAP. Okay, we might be seeing a shift in patterns. Let's check out forward slash. Okay, there's a pullback. So JNUG, forward slash NG is still showing signs of it being bullish, trading between the middle and bottom VWAP. JNUG pulling back. They're using the 50-day moving average, which is acting as a resistance at 926. Okay. So at 926, you're seeing a resistance. So JNUG is pulling back. We can see that there it's pulling back below the middle VWAP. Manny, hope you have an amazing day. Thank you again for tuning in. So again, you could see that /GC is not really pulling back, yet JNUG is pulling back, right? So JNUG is pulling back much more than the movement that you see on /GC, and that's what's so important. So yes, you do want to understand its direction, but when do you want to solely trade based off of and just watch /GC? No, it's still most important to focus on the ETF or whatever stock it is that you're trading. Hey Ricky, how relevant is the MACD for intraday trades? Every time it's different, right? So for like momentum stocks, I would say the MACD is probably not a very efficient indicator, right? So it would be all over the place, right? But for something that's moving like nicely according to volume and stuff like that, so that would be a little bit more apparent. So I think you might be asking, are you asking that because of the MACD on JNUG, right? You just have to look at its patterns and when it peaked out, and see if the MACD was relevant, or when it sold off, if the MACD was relevant. How do you identify if something is relevant, right? You test it. So look at previous patterns, the lows, the highs, right? Because that's what we're going to use it for, and see if it acts like what indicators. I think we talked about that in the course. Every indicator, every stock is different. Sometimes, and even if a stock is experiencing a little bit more volume than normal, it will react differently to a series of different indicators. So the middle VWAP, the top VWAP, the SMA line, the EMA line, the MACD, the RSI, Fibonacci, right? Bollinger Bands, whatever it is that you're using, every time, like sometimes, yes, it's going to be very effective and an indicator will be like spot on, and sometimes it won't even react to it. So that's why it's your job to test it out and see like, hey, was the MACD relevant to the sell-off? Was it able to identify, a good buy point? Kind of, right? And so was the RSI. Okay, that's cool, right? And then when it was pushing up and when it was peaking out, right, around this point, the MACD was pretty relevant, pretty accurate. Great. So maybe I could rely on the MACD today for JNUG. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, test it out, because I think, and this is the mistake that I think a lot of us make when first getting started, is like, when people say, oh no, you shouldn't trade in the first 30 minutes, or no, don't use the MACD, or no, don't use the RSI. There's never like just one specific like golden answer. If everything was just so straightforward, then there would be like an exact formula, right? On how to, do this exactly. And things change. There's always different variables, right? That change with, how active that stock is, the volume, the momentum, right? All these different like catalysts that can really like happen upon these specific stocks that we're trading. So let's make sure that we do our part as investors. We know what these indicators are. Now let's make sure and verify them that they are accurate every single day. It doesn't require much time. It's just a little reminder that you might want to put on your criteria checklist. Be like, hey, Dingleberry Rick, make sure that the MACD is a relevant indicator before you begin to use the MACD. It's simple, right? Again, a resistance. There we go. Nice push up. JNUG broke above. I just know when I sell, it's going to continue to go up, but it's okay. As long as you guys benefit from it, that's what's important. There we go. I'm going to sell. So I sold at 925.29. So I want to see how high it goes. So again, why did I sell there? Just because of previous highs. It peaked out at 926. I should have sold there. It's at 927 now. $126 profit in like, I don't know, 15 minutes. It's not bad. It's still a blessing. There it goes, 28. Boom. And again, I know we're playing it as a joke, and like it's still pushing up. Don't be afraid of lock-in profits. Again, it's so much more relaxing and comfortable to stay green. I just want to remind you guys that like it's all fun and games and it's a joke. Just remember, it's not a joke to go from green to red. And even if you miss out on like $20, $30, again, does that really matter down the road? So, Ricky, you have mastered how to control your emotions. I honestly wish, Raphael, it might seem like that, like behind camera, trust me, and I do that in respect to like trying to lead by example. It irks me that I sold at 9:25 and that it's at like 9:31. I'm human, right? But I know big picture. It's not even that I'm controlling my emotions. It's just more that I'm making sense of like, why I'm doing it. The extra 6 cents per share that I could have made for the 2000, that's $120. That's quite a bit of money, $120 more than I possibly could have made right now. But what's much more important than that, when I can have an extra $1,000 to $2,000 day down the road, because I know that I'm going to continue to grow my account and trade with a larger amount. Yep, everything adds up after day. Yeah, the most important thing is consistency, right? So as long as we're consistent with what we do, that's what's important. So, all right, there we go. It looks like or DGAS got rejected. It looks like this. What do you guys see here? Could this be a potential shift in patterns? Lower lows and lower highs. This could be a potential shift. Look at this MACD. The MACD continues the lows continue to get lower. Same thing with the RSI. Holy moly, it's Jason Bourne. No, 10 cents. Oh, okay, I missed out about $200. It's okay though. I don't care. Ow, I bit my lip. I hope you guys are enjoying this live stream. I really do. Hold a guac for today. Yeah, no guac today. No guac. Hey, but you know what is honestly much more rewarding? You know what's much more rewarding than, okay, I can't say that's much more rewarding than the money, right? Than the profit, but you know what's very, very rewarding? And how many of you guys feel this way? This thing can 100% push to 940 and then get rejected. But it's who talked about JNUG and talked about these indicators and how it performed, and it ended up performing according to plan. That's what's important. So if you can continue to lock in profits early, walk away, and then see that it performed the way that you expected it to, slowly but surely as time goes on, you can slowly become a little bit more risky, slowly but surely, because it performed the way that we expected it. But again, that's great that it did, but I wanted to secure my profits, right? And I think that's what's important. Every time that you trade something, yes, it can continue to go up. And if you truly believe in it, great. But if you for 1 second, just want to lock in profits and just want to test and experience okay, what actually happens, but still lock in profits, you can still follow it. And again, like we expected, JNUG had a really nice push up. Literally, as soon as I sold, look how long I had it. Look how long I had it for all this, right? And it just consolidates within here. And then as soon as I sell, right? Because I sold at 9:24, it was right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes later, boom. It was just an ascending uptrend pattern. That's great. And again, it's at the top VWAP indicator. It's approaching pre-market highs around 940. Yes, it could push up to maybe like 944, 950 for all we know. But look at the RSI, look at the MACD. It's overbought, might be due for a reversal. So just something to take into consideration, right? A winning trade is a winning trade. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Okay. Here we go. I didn't think I was going to take a trade today, so I'm pretty pumped. There we go. SQ really selling off. I mean, TQQQ. So I'm going to put SQQQ on my list. Look at this MACD. Let's test the MACD, right? So when it peaked out, peak, valid. When it sold off, pretty valid. When it peaked out, pretty valid. It didn't show a peak there. That was kind of, you know, a little bit more based off volume, so we could see that. Holy moly. Yeah, no, I'm not going to look at J9. My goodness. Like, don't look at J9, Rick. Don't look at it. Oh, pullback. So I like the pattern on SQQQ as it's making higher highs. Do you guys like this? I think it's going to follow a very similar pattern to the inverse TQQQ. Just 3 Qs. That it had yesterday, right? So yesterday had a really nice, you know, continuous uptrend pattern, really riding that aggressive, you know, top VWAP indicator. And now all we're seeing is it's selling off right now. So I'm going to wait for the rejection first. So, you know, it's trying to recover as of right now, but it's trading between the middle and bottom VWAP. So as long as it makes lower highs, then and it starts to get rejected, that would be my confirmation. So we're solid there. And then the margin of profit here. So like, let's say it comes right back down to the middle VWAP and then simply goes back up to its, you know, they're not even higher highs, but yeah, it's a little bit over 1%, about 1.5%. That's, you know, solid in my eyes, right? Especially if I'm in with my full position. So we'll see how it goes. Privileged to watch you trade live and set an example of controlling your emotions. Appreciate that, Tim Sky, or Ski. Shop with a massive rejection by the 50-day and most massive any. Oh my god, man. Okay, let's check it out. Watch out for this potential bounce. Okay, so a lot of margin to recover, right? So let's set our alerts. And if it reverses, great. And if not, then guess what? We don't have to touch it. That's one of the great things. And again, I'll repeat it. That's one of the great things about investing in the stock market. You get to choose what you invest in. So if you end up losing money, it's unfortunately your mistake, right? Because you chose to invest in it. And that's why you should never invest based on other people's opinion. They're not the ones that worked very hard for your money. So why are they the final decision makers? So let's focus on making sure that you understand and have an eye for value. And then after that, you can become a little bit more selective and say more no than yes, right? We have these. I'm going to remove these from my watch list because they're not actively trending up. So I just don't want to, DNR with that sell-off. Okay, JNEC pulling back. Starbucks has been killing it. I don't know about you guys, and we've talked about Starbucks already. Starbucks has absolutely been killing it. So it's a little bit more on the overbought side, but again, it was showing signs of an uptrend, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. It's been doing a great job. Watch out for KEM. I know it just broke above its resistance, so about $18. It's just, again, a very aggressive descending pattern and overall shift of direction. So I would be a little sketched about that one. So down on the day. Gosh, WTI pushing back up again. Here we go. So it's making higher highs right now. and it's trying to trade it. I want to give this a little bit more time to identify its direction. Do you guys see this all day yesterday in between the middle and top VWAP, middle and top VWAP, middle and top VWAP, and then the margin that it covered? So like, let's say you bought the dip here, right? And then you're able to sell this. It's not huge margin, but look, in one day, 4.57%. Not just that I want to talk about, but look at this, 180-day chart, showing signs of a potential uptrend. Overall direction, I think it's pretty attractive, right? DNR. There we go. Watch out for this though, for lower highs, descending pattern. What percentage do you try to reach per week? So 10 to 15%, but even if I could get relatively close to about like 8 to 12, again, 10 to 15% is my goal. It doesn't mean that I have to actually achieve it every single week, right? So obviously it would make me very happy, but again, it's still something that like, you know, I have to work for. So even if I ended at 8 to 12%, you know, I'll be extremely happy. JNUG with that pullback confirmation and then bounce right away. So could have been a good dip buy opportunity, right? The MACD is still showing signs of a sell-off. It's a 1% margin. Is the risk worth it, or is it FOMO, right? It seems like it's FOMO. So SQ is one that I'm watching, right? Because of this ascending uptrend pattern. I'm waiting for the confirmation. Its inverse ETF is TQQQ, and it TQQQ, there's 3 Qs, right? This thing pushed up about 7.6% today. TNDM just broke above $39, so watch out for that. But overall, pushed up 7% today, consolidated, became very overextended, and now it makes sense on why it's pulling back. So try to identify, you know, where that potential support is and make sure that you take that into consideration. SQQQ would solely be a day trade for me. So TNDM is doing a great job pushing up. A little bit on the overextended side, but, you know, definitely doing a great job pushing up right now. So it's not a good deal as of right now, but you just have to ask yourself, is this margin worth it? It's 1%. You know, it's up for you to decide. Oh, are we getting a confirmation? MACD, all that's good. So I'm going to go in with my initial position, right? Yo, come on. Here we go. Nice little push up. Someone's happy because of TNDM. Congrats, Jesse. Super happy that it's playing according to your plan. Here we go. Nice little push up. Okay, looks like its overall shift of direction is working pretty well, right? It's starting to push up. TQQQ. Getting rejected, that makes sense. So I'm going to set an alert here for when this thing makes lower lows. There we go, another red candle. So I'm going to add a little bit more to my position. I think this is where I'm going to stop at. So I'm just going to have my limit order at 1280. Doesn't mean that I have to sell there. So we're up 70, right? Getting a nice little push up. Actually, look at this resistance. There we go. It would make sense on why to sell already. So I'm looking at the level 2, getting rejected. I should not be dumb. What do we always say? Lock in profits? Ah. Come on. 1275.16. So I sold in between 1275. Okay, there it goes, and it pushes up. Yeah, well, the thing is again, there's a reason on why I'm selling. So I know that it can continue to go up. It could go up to 1280 as it's been making higher highs and stuff like that. I know that. My average price was not the best price. I should have initially purchased it like down here around 1265, and my second position should have been at the break above 1270. So I knew that my entry and exit, I had to make sense of that, was not the best. So locking in profits was something that was like top priority for me. And there it goes, getting rejected. Worked out according to plan. And again, all I looked at was the resistance here. So anything above 1275 was butter, right? It was just, or the cherry on top. It was just more. So $93 here. And then with JNUG, $126. So a little bit over $200. Great. Holy moly. JNUG is still pushing up. That's good for you guys. Do you think that ENDP will have a huge sell-off? What makes you say that? Okay, so what do I think about it? Okay. So obviously a very aggressive sell-off, so it might be a good dip buy opportunity. I like the pattern. The overall pattern is an ascending uptrend pattern. I really like this one. I would test it out. To see, I mean, it's obviously a dip buy, and if you would be buying right now, especially with the MACD and the RSI, you'd be buying solely based off of like, trying to buy at the lowest price. So if that's what's most important to you, just understand that you're taking a risk of buying in before the confirmation. I would be a little bit more selective, and I would do one of two things. I would either go with a very small position to get my foot in the door, and if it even continues to sell off, then I would not care. So like you have to get that through your head first, right? And the second option would be simply wait for the confirmation. I want to wait for confirmation. I want to be more disciplined, and that would be the more proper, in my eyes, way to approach this. There we go. CROX pulling back. This is exactly what I wanted to see today. The reason why is on this 180-day chart, again, this ascending uptrend pattern, and then this pullback, this push up, and then this pullback, right? It makes sense. So now we're a little bit at a better deal, right? A better price point. So now following up either with today or following up with it tomorrow, if it starts to show signs of recovery, I know that it most likely will try to make higher highs, right? So I'm going to just set my alert here for the break, and then we can follow up with it then. So SQQQ, making higher highs. Here we go. It's all good, Cosmos. So wish I was trading with real money. Again, your time will come. Right now, all you have to prove to yourself is that you are ready to trade with real money. And if, again, wishful thinking isn't going to do much. It just means that you have to work that much harder to be at that point where you can trade with real money. It's something that's super exciting and something that you should really look forward to. JNUG above, oh my God, it's gone up 25 cents since I sold. What is that? With 2,000 shares, it's $500. It played out according to plan, right? Here we go. We're getting a lot of consolidation for a potential reversal. Overall SMA line, still a resistance. So let's make sure that we note that. Margin of profit is about 1% with the descending pattern. Not worth the risk for me. So again, just making it apparent. Is it worth the risk? Is it not worth the risk? What's the margin of profit? Overall potential, right? Just isn't worth the risk for me. Less than 1%. No, thank you. WTI pulled back just like we expected and trying to make higher highs. This could be something. Not necessarily, not being filled. So if I'm going with a limit order, and if you're trading something with lower volume and you have access to level 2, you should be able to see where people are buying and where people are selling. And if you're having trouble getting filled, it's just probably because your limit order is like, let's say below where, so I could have my limit order at, $8.06, as you guys can see here, or $8.07, let's say. But because, people are only willing to sell at 808, I will not get filled, right? So that's just something that we have to take into consideration. Yo, dang, I need to fix my posture. So here we go, TNDM. I mean, it's definitely showing signs of an uptrend today, and you just have to ask yourself, is the margin of profit worth it? It's pushing right back up again. It's really right in that EMA line. So even if it were to go to all-time highs to maybe like 950, that's still about like 1.2%. It's nothing that I personally find too attractive, especially for something that's been like really struggling. So I like this pattern, especially to the overall 180-day pattern. I think this is pretty attractive. 3%. Okay. So we'll set the alert there. Set the alert here for the reversal. Long neck, shoulder. Oh, you guys just love to roast me. I swear, I feel like you guys just tune into like the Learn Plan Profit live streams for me to lock in profits too early and then to make fun of everything that I say. It's perfect. Right? It wouldn't be a Learn Plan Profit live stream if it wasn't for that. I shop at Costco because the price is low, or it keeps the cost low. What's the saying? I shop at Costco to keep the cost low. Pudding. There we go. Alert set. Degas. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So, okay, wait, I told myself no on Degas. I have to remind myself that the margin of profit isn't worth it. No, makes sense to me. Trailing stop losses I just feel like with my luck, I will get stop lossed out, so I will miss out even on the resistance that I identified, and it will continue to push up. We could test it out, so I'll test it out and see how it works. It's just I just haven't been extremely comfortable with it. So excuse me, I'm sorry. There we go, Starbucks, but again, the margin of profit is very little, so I'm not too interested. PayPal, LPX, still selling off. LPX was the one with the very aggressive sell-off, right? Yep, still selling off. I'm going to remove this one from my watch list. I have too many alerts on this one, so I'll just follow up with it like that. WTI was the only one that I was considering right now. No, but it's still getting rejected by that strong resistance. Yeah. Until it starts making higher highs, Ricky. Higher highs. Higher highs. And for margin of profit to be worth it. I'm excited. So in 6 minutes, the crude oil report comes out. So watch out for that. SBUX broke above its resistance. Nice. Let's check this out. So I'm up 219 on the day and 60 cents. Right, 219. Yeah, 219.60. There we go. Ooh, there we go. SQQ just made higher highs, again pushing up to 1280. Great. I missed out on about 5 cents there. Not bad. I just like to calculate everything I missed out on. No, totally kidding. That's not a good habit to have. Lock in profits, walk away. Unless, you know, it still offers potential on a pullback, then walk away until your alerts go off. All right, I'm just gonna answer. So let's not do any more. Do not look at JNUG. Let's just do some breakdowns. Not some breakdowns. So I don't want to do any more breakdowns on stocks. I want to do more open-ended questions for 5 more minutes. So open-ended questions about maybe something that you're experiencing, please make sure that you've completed the course. I'll answer some open-ended questions, and then the crude oil report will come out. So I'll have that on my screen, and we can kind of go from there. So explain the 900% growth on USLV, a reverse stock split. TOS is lagging really bad. I haven't experienced that as of right now. I did experience it in the morning, but that's why I had to restart my TOS. That's why my live stream was like delayed 3 or 4 minutes. Does every ETF have a future? No. What's up with the wheat stocks today? So cannabis got, according to something I read, cannabis got legalized in Canada, which is a positive catalyst for certain, it all has to do with perception and how the psychology behind how people interpret that news, right? So people would automatically think that because cannabis gets legalized that every cannabis stock is going to shoot up. No, that's definitely not the case, because there's certain just guidelines or precautions that might not act in its favor. So we could see some that really skyrocket today, and then also others, I think NLST and all those pump and dumps. Again, they're all pump and dumps, or I don't want to say that. They're just all being manipulated in my eyes. But then you see them sell off 11 and 10% today. So SQQQ pullback, I did see that. So I pushed down to 1270. Okay, so Michael, I would really paper trade. It's great that you have so much money as you're just getting started. I would not encourage you to be trading with so much money before you could even prove to yourself if you can actually grow your account. This is why it's so important to take everything that you learn, practice it, implement it, see if you can do that with paper trading, actually grow your account, or do that one share kind of test that we've talked about of just buying one share and testing it at just have some skin in the game and seeing how it performs. I would hate for you to, just approach it in such an aggressive way. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make. So how do you feel about using margin or leverage on an account? So about the Forex market, it's just not a market that I invest in. How do I feel about margin or leverage? I don't think as you're just getting started that you should borrow money. Oh shoot, I have school today. Yeah, with these daily reminders and stuff like that. I don't know. I have a great team that really keeps me in check when it comes down to my daily tasks. So yeah, it's all thanks to them. So is JNUG a hold for a day or screwed through the PD2? I wouldn't say that JNUG is a hold for the day, especially with I just think it's very overextended. If you look at it at the 180-day chart, it's I would say due for a pullback, but we'll see what happens. So Nick, you have to call TD Ameritrade. It's easier if you call them in my eyes. You could call them. We've talked about it in the course where you can get real-time quotes. It doesn't matter if you're paper trading or, even with a paper trading account, you just have to call them. I've seen it happen. I've been with my cousin that started paper trading, and he had the 20-minute delayed quotes. We called them, they activated it, and they might ask you, you don't have to, but they might try to ask you to open up a real account. It doesn't cost you anything, so that could be an alternative. All right, guys. What is it? 30 more seconds. Do you see shop sell-off to be a good dip buy opportunity for a swing? Again, yes, with the understanding that you're investing in something with an aggressive sell-off, with the understanding that it might continue to sell off. So as long as you understand that, it's up to you. 2 seconds, 1 second, sell off. This is in favor of then DRIP, D-R-I-P. So Gush should have sold off, right? UWT should have sold off, and DWT should have pushed up, and DRIP should have pushed up. Isn't that a beautiful thing? How's WTI doing? Sell off. Same thing, right? I don't know if you guys know, but WTI has to do with crude oil, right? The company itself. This might be a good dip buy. right? So dip buy opportunity, and again, this one's offering more of a horizontal pattern. All the other ones were actual like ETFs that are descending as of right now, due to them following a little bit closer to, you know, WTF or /CL. So where are we at? Up 26. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna set my alert for the break above $8. Again, with 2,000 shares at about, you know, almost $8 a share, that's about a little bit under $16,000. So that's about 50%, a little bit over 50% of what my normal position is. So, you know, I can try to add more to my position. I wouldn't care too much to do it, but it's showing signs of a, oh no, it's not. I thought it was showing signs of a potential recovery. It's right back at where I bought it at. There we go. CROX just broke above. Okay, so it's getting closer to that middle VWAP. Let's set that alert. But with WTI and the resistance that it had today, so like let's say my average price if I buy more ends up being around 799 and then sell close to like 810, the margin isn't huge. So that's why I'm just gonna, my average right now is at around this general area. There we go. So where are we at? Down $72. Yikes. Yeah, so I mean, it could be a potential swing trade. I wouldn't approach it that way though. I mean, it is showing signs of an uptrend pattern. I found it to be like a good dip buy. That's why I feel somewhat comfortable with it. You know, but it's still selling off right now, so it's something that I have to manage and that I have to take into consideration. And I don't want to have, you know, $16,000 really held up. Although the margin might be worth it, it's just something that I'll have to follow up with, but I really don't see myself swing trading something like this. But again, just due to the overall ascending uptrend pattern and how it's been pushing up and stuff like that, I feel pretty comfortable with it. So just like we've talked about it multiple times before, you know, invest in something that's long-term actively trending up, because just after a matter of time, it makes sense on why it can recover. So, and on drip at 599, just make sure that for all these stocks that pushed up, right, that you guys lock in profits, just because it's aggressively pushing up. So that means that, so yeah, WTI should then still be selling off, but just the more that this thing pushes up, the more overextended it becomes, right? Like that MACD. It just makes sense on why it's going to pull back. So let's not be scared to lock in profits. Let that be like a strong quality that we have. So yep, that's pretty much it for today. One last look at JNUG. Let's see where we at. Okay, JNUG showing signs of a peak formation. So right, I would set my alert for the potential reversal, and then I would probably focus more on JDST as of now. Let's see this. Yeah, showing signs of potential peak formation. I would still follow for a little bit more of a, you know, like higher highs and stuff like that, but or lower lows. Lower low confirmation. Alrighty. Guys, that was fun. DNR sold off too. Okay, that's something that I'll have to follow up with. But I had a lot of fun in this live stream. I feel like we did pretty well when it came down to our overall day trades. I feel like I bought the dip on something that could play out pretty well. Obviously, it sold off very aggressively, so it offered for me a good dip buy opportunity. It was one that I was already considering at above that $8 price point due to that good deal opportunity on the 180 day chart. So it's something that I could follow up with. No, yeah, I didn't. Okay, so there's like a static that you guys hear with my microphone. I don't know what to do about that, but I'll try to see if I could fix it. I'll have. Oh, wow. Okay. Are you guys talking about this? Not about this, right? Okay, so it comes and goes. I do apologize for that. Alrighty, guys. Well, I really do appreciate your guys' time. I hope that you guys have an absolute amazing rest of your Wednesday. I hope that you guys enjoyed this live stream. I hope you guys are pumped for the next live stream as well. So I'm going to be catching up on Discord messages. Please make sure that you take time out of your day or, the next couple of days, if you haven't completed the course already, that you do end up completing it, right? So we can make sure that we cover all those frequently asked questions and that we kind of go from there. So yeah, that's really just it. So appreciate you guys' time. Wish you guys an amazing and eventful Wednesday. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Let's lock in those profits and let's make sure that we have a good setup for tomorrow. Take it easy, team.